Welcome to this video. Assalamu alaikum. In this video, I will talk with you about a very important topic: how you can stop porn forever, how this trap is designed by the devil to keep you trapped. So first of all, it's very important that you know it's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's a trap designed, first of all, that you fall into this trap, and then the trap is designed so that you keep there in this trap forever, in the best case. And also most of the advice online isn't really working. So I give you an example. Everywhere you will find here on YouTube like NoFap, for example. And this is something I tried for years, and I had streaks of 8 months. This was my record, but then I was falling back into this trap. I had 3 months, 2 months, etc. So most of the advice online doesn't work. This is the first thing. The second thing is, it's very important that it's not that you are too weak, or it's that you're somehow defective or something like this. It's a trap. I will explain you 100% how this trap does work, step by step. I show you exactly the system I figured out the last years, and then we talk about the solution, how it's very easy to stop with this forever, inshallah. So this is exactly, those are the tools. The first step is understand the system, understand the trap, how this porn trap, this $1 trillion industry is exactly set up so that you fall in and stay in this trap forever. And then we will talk about how step by step you can very easily stop this forever and without effort. So the issue is, for example, with most of the advice online, for example, the NoFap, it's you need willpower. You need willpower. For example, you make it maybe 8 months, but then you fall back into this trap again. And I'm speaking from my own experience, because the porn addiction is very similar to all other addictions. For example, cigarettes, alcohol, gambling, etc. Also heroin or other drugs. So I'm speaking here from my own experience. I had a lot of addictions myself, and Allah healed me from all of them. So I will share with you my experience and the tools which are really working. So, but please understand, without Allah, without God taking this from you, nothing works in this world. Nothing works without the permission of Allah, without the permission of God. So those are the tools I will share with you in this video. So let's get started directly. And usually I don't talk about things like this, but this is a huge problem. It's a $1 trillion industry, and the effects of this problem, of the porn industry, then so many people are addicted to watch this filth. And then it's not only that, what the effects of this are, we will look into this as well. It's a huge problem, and this is why I make this video. Inshallah, I can help you watching this, and this will be a tool so you can stop this easily, you can understand this, and you can also share this to help others to stop with this filth, and that we can end this evil industry, this $1 trillion industry, which has so many bad effects on the whole world. And after this video you will understand exactly that this is made 100% by Shaitan, by the devil. And let's get started. So everything, this trap starts, for example, you're in the school. You don't want to have anything to do with this filth. As children, we have like this shame. We don't want to see something like this. I remember back in school, I was in, I think, 2nd or 3rd grade. Maybe I was 6 or 7 years old. On the schoolyard, we didn't have smartphones. There was still like the Sony Ericsson smartphones here with you could take the first pictures. We had like the very basic phones. This was back then. And I still remember one guy on the schoolyard, he showed all of us like a video, like a 1 minute video, but this was actually, when I am remembering right, one of the first like of those filth videos I saw, and I didn't want this, but somebody on the schoolyard showed it to us. So, and then after school I went to a friend of mine, also this was maybe in 5th grade, and he had all the access to the different sites, the filth sites on the screen, on the internet. Parents weren't at home, so he showed me this, and I remember this. I was very ashamed. I didn't want to watch it. It was very uncomfortable, and also unnatural to watch this. It was like also weird. I remember this, but then after time, it's the first doses of heroin or the first cigarette. The first cigarette, if you have had smoked once, you know, like the first cigarette you smoke, everybody hates it. Okay, so but it's the first doses, it's the first injection, and same for the porn trap. The first videos are the first doses, the first injection you get of this toxic substance, okay? And then what happens in your body and in your brain, like a lot of dopamine is released, and it's skyrocketing in your brain. And although it's so disgusting, but it was never possible before that you have access to see so many like different naked women in your lifetime. So in your brain there's a lot of dopamine, and this is saved in your brain. And the next thing is, after each up comes the down. So if you have like in any substance which skyrockets your dopamine, there's also the crash. So there's the saying, everything what goes up needs to go down, okay? And you remember this up and this high, and the next time, for example, you sit and you are down, you have bad mood, or you see like in the TV or on YouTube, you see like a woman or some other trigger, it reminds you of this, and your body and your brain, it reminds you of the high you got the first time when you watched this. And then you, in your mind, you have this, you get the craving, oh, this is so nice, like the whispering, okay, or watch this is nice, etc. And then you click on the site, and there's this dopamine release again, and this whole bad feedback cycle repeats again and again, and those pathways in your brain, etc., they form, they get stronger, and the habit and the addiction gets even stronger. And the real issue started when you first fall into this trap. And this was the first video you watch, or like if you like in addictions of cigarettes, of nicotine, the first cigarette you smoked, this is where the addiction started. And the issue is, with any drug, you need higher dosages, okay? For example, if you smoked 1 cigarette a day, then you need 2, then you need 3, then you need 1 pack, you need 2 packs. Same with other drugs. You always need, because the baseline, the dopamine baseline, it increases, and you always need higher dosages to get the high. And this is same in the porn trap. So first people start watching maybe like videos of one, like very basic videos, not very normal, one girl maybe, and they end up, I listened to an audiobook, Dopamine Nation is it called, where there's basically the downhill, it goes, there's no limit of how bad it can get. it starts, the dosage, like the one cigarette means you watch a video of one girl, for example. And there are guys, they end up, this was one guy, and he allowed the psychotherapist to reveal his story. And he was addicted to connecting electric cables, etc., a machine to his genitals, and giving access to a woman on the internet, access to this machine, which was hours and hours and hours, like putting electroshocks to his genitals, and he was filming himself doing this, like very humiliating and very, very degrading and shaming stuff. And it started with the basic porn, like with the normal filth out there. And there are people, they start watching more and more filth and disgusting things. So and this is exactly the thing, the baseline, the dopamine baseline, it increases. You need more and more, you need novelty, you need more disgusting things. And important for you is it's not your fault. The system, this trap is designed for you to do this. And also, those sites, they suggest this filth to you. They suggest more filth and more disgusting things to you. This is very important to realize. And this is the first feedback cycle. And very important to understand are several things. We go step by step and we take our time. Please, if you don't make it to watch this full video in full length, then stop, save this video and continue here, because this is so important. And I believe from my heart, and I pray that this video will help you to end this forever, and also that you can help others to stop this. Okay, so this craving, everything starts with the craving, with the remembrance. For example, you see some trigger on the TV, in series, etc., on social media, here on YouTube, in movies, outside. If you don't put your side down, you see women. The triggers are everywhere, and then the whispering starts. Very important for you to understand is in the Holy Quran, we are warned about this. So, for example, that Shaitan paints out and beautifies the sin force. This is exactly what happens. The craving in our head. If we think about this, it starts with the idea, with the craving. Before you actually click on the site, you think maybe, okay, just one glance, only short. I look only short, and then you are back in, for example. There are many situations like this. And if you read in the Holy Quran, we have, for example, we go to the source of it, and we are informed, alhamdulillah, exactly what the issue is. So, and what the big picture, what the full story is. So, first of all, for example, Satan responded, "My Lord, for allowing me to stray, I will surely tempt them on earth and mislead them all together." Or at another place, "Why did they not humble themselves when we made them suffer? Instead, their hearts were hardened, and Satan made their misdeeds appealing to them." So this is exactly this part here, where in your head, Shaitan makes it like it's a beautiful thing, okay? And the issue is this rabbit hole, this down path, it gets worse and worse, and people become gay, or they start with LGBTQ, etc., because at those sites, exactly this content is suggested to them and they click on it and they think, okay, I watched this, now I'm gay or I'm this and that. And or another percentage, even they don't find it in the clear web anymore, so they go at the deep web and look at this filth there and there, the rabbit hole, and it goes even deeper and deeper and worse and worse and worse and more disgusting and more disgusting and more disgusting, and it starts here like we talked about, okay? Also, people seeing this and then they want to do it, okay? So it's a stepping stone of watching this and then wanting to do it in reality. And in the background, who is laughing? Shaitan is laughing. And then, the thing is, it's very important to understand that the hooks are everywhere. It's not that only the porn sites are out there where this filth is. Actually everything, like if you are watching series, if you're watching movies, all series, even the content on YouTube, the suggestions everywhere, the billboards, if you are living in the West, the billboards, etc. Everywhere are the hooks which hook you exactly so that you go on those sites, okay? And for example, on social media, you see those triggers, or in movies, everything gets more disgusting. If you compare, for example, like movies from 20 years ago and movies now, what they show purposefully, for example, in Netflix series or in series, in movies or on YouTube here, you see more nakedness, more disgusting things, etc., which pull you exactly to go on those sites. Okay, this is very important, and that it's not only porn on the normal porn sites, but it's everywhere. It's everywhere on your smartphone, if you go outside, etc. So now the next step is you say, I want to quit. I want to stop this, okay? I don't want this anymore. What you do, you go on YouTube or maybe you read a book or something like this. And then the issue is like 95% of the advice out there isn't working. It's simply not working. For example, one big thing is nofap. From the people who realize how bad this filth is and we want to stop this, then you start with nofap. But it's simply, I know from my own experience, it isn't working. Even if you have strikes from, like I had, my record was 8 months, you fall back, etc., etc. Okay, or blockers. So what I want to tell you is, most of the advice out there isn't working. I had it all. Like if I tell you like how many blockers I installed everywhere, it's crazy how much. I can record videos after videos only about the topic of blockers, because I tried, I think really I tried all of those blockers on the smartphone, on my MacBook, everywhere, okay? So, but all the time I found a way to deinstall them, find another way to go there, okay? So after watching all the advice and trying it yourself, like nofap, the blockers, etc., you get the idea of that it's very, very hard to quit. And this is exactly what the devil, what Shaitan wants, which is our number one enemy, where we get reminded a lot of times in the Holy Quran that we should take the devil, Shaitan, as our enemy. So, for example, he said, for leaving me to stray, I will lie in ambush for them on your straight path. Or I will approach them from the front, their back, their right, their left, and then you will find most of them ungrateful. Or Shaitan responded, my Lord, for allowing me to stray, I will surely tempt them on earth and mislead them all together. except your chosen servants among them. Or Satan said, by your glory I will certainly mislead them all, except your chosen servants among them. So the thing is, what you need to understand is that Satan, the devil, is your enemy. And the porn trap, like so many different agendas and different traps, are designed by the devil. Exactly to mislead you so that you do more sins. And also the devil, there's one good quote, for example, follow the money. So if you want to know the truth, like what is going on in the media or in the world in general, simply follow the money. And here it's the same. Simply follow what the devil wants. And I bet you know this. For example, you want to quit. You tried it several times, and you get the idea of all the advice out there. It's hard. You need willpower, and you have all the whispering in your head like it's hard, it's not possible, I tried it so many times, or it's very uncomfortable, or I do it tomorrow, or I tried it so many times, and you lose hope, etc. And also the idea that you're too weak or too defective or too addicted, and that you are an exception, that you can't do it, that other people are stronger than you on the internet, which made it, but you can't. Or also the fear that it will be very hard. And this, compared with all the advice out there, gives you like the idea that it's a very, very big thing and it's very hard to quit. And this is exactly what the devil wants you to think. Because if you think about it, all those limiting beliefs or those whisperings or this programming you have in your mind, like if you want to quit and you think it's too hard, I tried it too many times and I didn't make it, etc., are the whisperings and the programming of the different advice you find out there and the whispering of the shaitan. And if you have all those thoughts, those beliefs, this programming, after a belief, after the thought, comes the emotion. So how do you feel? How do you feel if you have those thoughts? For example, you just relapsed and you think, oh, I will never make it and it's too hard. After those thoughts, you feel small, you feel defective, you feel inferior, you feel like you can't do anything, you feel very weak. And exactly this feeling, like I call it the inferiority feeling, the weak feeling, the small feeling, the defective feeling that you are small, everything is going around you, and the obstacle you face, the challenge you face is very, very big, like this big rock, this big mountain above you. And this feeling, this weak feeling, in this feeling, you can't do anything. You are like paralyzed. You can't do anything, and you don't want to feel like that. So what happens next? This is the trigger to go and watch porn again, or to take your drug of choice. So this feeling is also a trigger to go directly back to the porn trap and watch again and again and again, or any other drug. The principle I share with you here is you can replace the porn trap, you can replace it with the cigarette trap or the any addictive trap you want, okay? And very, very important to understand is Shaitan, the devil, is your number one enemy. And here, back again, we learn in the Holy Quran what's going on. So, Allah asked, what prevented you from prostrating when I commanded you? He, Shaitan, replied, I am better than he is. You created me from fire and him from clay. He replied, in another place and several places in the Quran, he replied, I'm better than he is. You created me from fire and him from clay. So if you don't know the story in the Holy Quran, Allah, God, created Adam, and he commanded all the angels, and the devil was among them, to prostrate in front of Adam alayhi salam. So, but the devil didn't want to do it because of kibr, because of pride, and he said, I'm better than him. And if you take a look at this feeling here, this small inferiority feeling, this is exactly what the devil wants you to feel. He is better than you. You are this dirt, only this creation made out of clay. This is exactly what the devil wants you to feel. And also, if you take a look at the whole environment, doesn't matter if it's school, for example, in the West, or science, they teach you it's good. It's good if you look at those filthy films and you do masturbation, etc., etc. Do it, experiment. It's weird if you don't do it. This is from the school and the science side. Then you have like the friends. They say, hey, did you see this? Did you watch this? If you tell them I don't watch this, they tell you, are you gay or something like this, you know? It depends on your environment. If you have a good environment, then it won't be the case. But I'm talking in general terms. In general terms, unfortunately, at 2025, it's like that most, if you will look at in most circles, in most trend circles in the West, it will be the normal case if you watch those filthy films. It's not by accident that this is a $1 trillion industry, okay? Also media. If you look like the most popular media, the media, also series, movies, it's everywhere are those love stories, those stories where at the end the superhero gets the girl and they go to the bed, etc., etc. So it's implemented everywhere. You're feeling weird if you don't participate in this. So, and if you don't do it, they will tell you, oh, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Like the media, like the friends, the teachers in the school, they will tell you, what's wrong with you? So back again, you go. If you don't do it, you go back. Automatically, you feel excluded. You go back to the inferiority feeling, which I showed you. And this is exactly what the devil wants you to feel like. Because at this weak stage, at this weak point, you are very weak-willed. You are most... the probability is the highest that you go and do a sin, do something bad, you go back, watch porn, watch what else, you fall into the sin again, okay? And also, before we start to look fully at the full solution step by step, I want to tell you something. So everything started with one look. If you don't know it anymore, please try to remember what was the first time you watched this film. As I told you, for me it was like in 2nd, 3rd grade, and then the real sights in 5th grade at a friend's home. This was the first time, and I told you I felt very uncomfortable and also like disgusted and shameful, which is the natural response to this filth. But like the first cigarette is it's disgusting, you are coughing and you don't like it. It's the natural response, but then you adapt, okay? So what was the first time for you? And also, let's look at the triggers. Most of the triggers which lead you to go to those sites, like in movies or on YouTube, are like visual triggers of women, for example, on social media, etc. And I want you to be aware what the triggers, if you don't are fully aware at the moment, what are the triggers for you, okay? So Before we start with the full solution, I want you to show you something. Like, all the answers, all the wisdom we need is in the Holy Quran. Because Allah, God who created everything, He has full control and full knowledge of everything. He gives us the solution. And if you look at this system, this full trap, the full picture, and this is the full picture, everything started with what? With a look. Okay, with a look that you didn't watch away, that on the schoolyard I didn't put my hand and said, don't show me this. And then at a friend's home, no, I don't want to see it, but that I watched. And also then on social media, in the movies, that I look, and then I think, then the circle starts again. The beautification of the sin, the beautification of this deed, and you go, and the whispering comes again only one time. Okay, so everything starts with a look, with a glance. Okay, and in the Holy Quran, Allah, God tells us to. He says, "O Prophet, tell the believing men to lower their gaze and guard their chastity. That is purer for them. Surely Allah is all aware of what they do." So the core, the lever, imagine you are like a sniper, only with one shot you hit the target. This is the solution in the beginning for it, to lower the glance. And this we find in the Holy Quran. Okay, so now we come to the easy solution, how to quit it. If you are in this trap, how to get out of this trap as soon as possible and very easily, without willpower, without struggle, very easily. And the key concept we need to understand is that there is absolutely no benefit of watching porn. There's absolutely no benefit. It's only brainwashing from shaitan, from the environment, from society, from basically everywhere. It's only brainwashing that you think you get some kind of pleasure out of it. So let's look at the drawing. So first of all, please understand, it's very, very easy to quit forever, inshallah. I will give you the tool now, which helped me a lot, and this is the tool I used also to quit several other addictions, and also addictions I thought it would be impossible to quit. But alhamdulillah, Allah took those addictions from me, and I used exactly this tool. I tried, for example, I give you the example of smoking. Several years I was trying with the willpower method to quit. So I stopped for 1 week and then I relapsed. Then I started again and I stopped for 2 days and then I fall back again. I stopped for 1 week, and all the time several days ago I went through all of my journals from the past, back from 2016, and all the time I wrote down, okay, what do I need to improve? Stop smoking, stop smoking, stop smoking. I wrote down, now I am a non-smoker, and I fall back again and again. And it was a constant loop of me stopping, starting again. And I was at points, and a very long time, I thought, I changed a lot of things. I built successful businesses and I made positive changes. But I thought, this is the one thing, it's impossible. I really thought this. I thought it's impossible for me to stop this. And Allah, alhamdulillah, took this away from me with exactly this tool I will share with you now, and which you can also use to stop watching this filth forever. First of all, you need to understand it's easy. It's easy to stop, and it's only brainwashing what keeps you in this loop of falling back and watching again and again. Okay, so basically the most important thing is that you deeply understand in your heart that there is absolutely no benefit in watching this filth at the moment. The reason one of the reasons that keeps you addicted is that you think you get some sort of pleasure out of it, and this depends from person to person. I give you some examples. Okay, for example, I was brainstorming this and I came up with relaxation to switch off. For example, you have like a lot of stress and you're doing things, and then to relax. Okay, this was one benefit, one perceived benefit I was getting out of it. Or like some kind of reward or joy or pleasure, and some kind of, if you are in this emotion, in this low emotion, in this weak inferiority feeling, to get a high or a boost or some kind of up. And then I asked myself, okay, is this really true? But because in reality, watching this filth is the same like taking heroin. There's absolutely no pleasure in it. So then after I came up, and I challenge you, please pause this video and ask yourself, okay, what is the perceived benefit I'm getting out of it? And take your time, take several minutes to brainstorm what is the perceived benefit you are getting out of it. Okay, and then we can ask ourselves, okay, is this really true? For example, in the case of the perceived benefit of relaxation or switching off, I ask myself, when I'm watching this filth, is it really relaxing? And the reality was no. It was completely like tense, because I knew it's something bad, it's something disgusting, and it was a tense feeling. And after it was a feeling of guilt. So there was in reality no relaxation. It's only brainwashing. The next thing, reward or joy or pleasure, some kind of high or something, or like a high or an up. Is this really true? I thought about it, and the answer was no, because during it was a tense feeling, and after it was a guilt feeling, you know? So this perceived benefit wasn't actually true. After it was not a high, and an up, it was a down and a guilt feeling and a shame feeling. So I realized, and I pray that you also realize, that there's absolutely no benefit in doing it. So go through your list and please do it. Pause the video and do this small exercise, and then ask yourself, is this really true? And if you do this, you will realize that you get absolutely nothing out of it. It's only that the devil, Shaitan, paints out and beautifies the sin in our mind through whispering, through bad programming from all over around us, that we think there's some kind of benefit or pleasure inside it, but the reality is there's absolutely no benefit and no pleasure in it. Okay, it's the same thing like this. It's a great example from a guy named Alan Carr, and he wrote a book called The Easy Way to Stop Smoking. And he gave the example of wearing tight shoes, only wearing tight shoes to get the pleasure if you put them off, if you turn them off. Smoking, he gave the example, is the same like wearing tight shoes, only for the pleasure to put them off, if you put them off. So the same is true with porn. So ask yourself, what are the perceived benefits? So the most common ones are, for example, if you're stressed, it helps relaxing. Or if you're bored, it relieves boredom, etc. And the thing is with that it's also brainwashing, because it's like a dosage, like you put like you inject like heroin, like this toxic inside your body if you watch this film, and this gives you a wave of dopamine, and this increases your baseline of dopamine, and at the same time your body increases also cortisol and other hormones which increase your stress level, and you get more panic and more disgust, more guilt, more anxiety, and you feel emotionally more flat and tired. You also get into chronic stress mode, and you have less motivation, you have more pressure, more tenseness, and also more depression, more negativity in total. So in total, it doesn't relax you, it in reality does the exact opposite. Okay, and this is also true not only for watching this film, but also for sugar. If you eat a lot of sugar, or you watch a lot of entertainment, binge watching, gambling, other drugs, caffeine, etc., etc., social media, and like we're talking about in this video, porn. Okay, so this objection that you say, okay, it helps me relax, or it relieves boredom, isn't true, because in reality this filth makes you more stressed, more depressive, more negative, and weakens you. Okay, so this is also not true. If you dig deep into those false perceived benefits, you will figure out it's not true, it's a lie. Okay, those wrong perceptions like you are giving up something, or it's hard, which the devil wants you to believe, aren't true either. They are not true. They are only lies, only whispering, only bad programming from all the wrong advice. Like most of the advice is well meant, but it's simply false, and it's feeding into this false beliefs that it's hard or you're giving up something. No, you're not giving up something, you're only gaining, because there's absolutely no benefit in watching this. It doesn't matter if you think it relaxes you or there's pleasure, etc. It's not true. Okay, so you're getting only more energy, you have a huge gain, you're getting rid of this sin, of this filth, you get more motivation, you gain God's pleasure. You have only benefits when you stop this, and it's very, very easy. Okay, so how to do it? How can we actually do it? The most important thing is that if the thought comes, if the whispering, and it will come, and it's not no problem at all. There are pathways in our brain, and there are triggers around us, and we can't always avoid them. Okay, so if this trigger comes, and we have the trigger, it doesn't matter where it comes from. We have the trigger, we have the hook, and in our brain, Shaitan, the whispering, and our programming is activated, and it comes, the thought of only one click, or only visiting the site once, or watching this film comes into our brain. And usually what happens is Shaitan beautifies it for us and tells us, okay, only one click, only one time, only watch it one time, tomorrow you will stop, etc. Now you will instead install a new thinking habit. Okay, like you can install real physical habits, like going to the gym, or after waking up doing 10 push-ups, etc. You can also install mental habits, thinking habits, and this is the key to stop this. You will think about it, and it's no problem. Don't stress out. Like with the willpower method, for example, the thought comes of this filth, and you want to push it away, and you think, oh no, it's something bad to think about. The thought will come, but what you now will think is, the new thinking habit will be that you think about, for example, something bad, something disgusting. I give you the example when I stopped smoking, alhamdulillah, there's this thought of breathing the exhaustion of a car, for example, smelled like this old cigarette. I smelled it and it was very, very disgusting. And this smell I remembered, okay? Also, the imagination to breathe in the exhaustion of a car. And there was also an exercise in this book, The Easy Way to Stop Smoking, where you should, before stopping and before smoking the final cigarette, there's you take one paper and you smoke through this paper. So you put the cigarette, the paper, and you smoke like this, and then you see the filth, the disgusting brown filth on this paper, on this white paper, which you all the time are breathing in. And this bad association, those images, all the time now you're thinking about smoking, you call in your imagination those images and this disgust. And then you say simply, Alhamdulillah, or Yippee, I'm free of this. Okay? So the same you can do with stopping watching this filth. You can think about hellfire, you know, about, you can also think about the blessings Allah gave you. And if you are doing this, you're misusing, for example, your eyesight, your hands, your private parts, and you can think simply what life would be like if you wouldn't have your eyesight, if you wouldn't have your hands, if you couldn't use your hands to go to those sites, and if you wouldn't have even your private parts. And you imagine this, and also hellfire, and then you go into gratitude and you say, Alhamdulillah, that I have my eyesight and my private parts and my hands and the blessings Allah that God gave you. Okay, so you go from the negative vision to the positive. And this is simply great. Also, you can not only think about hellfire, but you can also think about the deep, deep rabbit hole, the deep, deep hole, how deep it can get. Like at the beginning of the video, I told you about the man who allowed the psychotherapist in the book Dopamine Nation to share his story, where he went so deep that he built every time like a machine which he connected to his private parts, and he gave a woman in the internet access to control this, and he was several hours in this state and was filming himself, and all this started also with watching this film. Okay, and there are a lot of other very more and more disgusting examples we don't want to go into now, but you can think about this as well. So you go from the negative vision, like imagine how it would be without the eyesight, without the private parts, without your hands, and then you go into the gratitude, Alhamdulillah that I have this, and that's it. Okay, so you have this negative vision, the thinking habits, the trigger comes somewhere, you think about it, and then you simply think about it, the negative vision, hellfire. Imagine your state visually, imagine it how it would be without your eyesight, without your private parts, without your hands, all those body parts you're using to disobey Allah, to disobey God, with the blessings He gave you. And then you go into the positive emotion, Alhamdulillah that I have those, and into the gratitude and that you are free of this now. Okay, and in the first days and weeks, it will be like that you sometimes get the urge to do it, okay? But this is simply the addiction. And from the first time watching this film, okay, like for me in the 2nd or 3rd grade, I told you, there, simply imagine there was a little monster, like a little shaitan, a little devil created inside you, which now all the time you are abstaining from it, is crying and dying and cries and dies, and every time you don't give in and you install this new thinking pattern, you're killing this little monster, okay? And all the time you're thinking, now, yippee, alhamdulillah, I'm free of this now. So also after a time, if you inshallah, I pray for it, that you're completely free of it, don't think, this is important to remember, don't think that you are immune to this, okay? This is still a trap, and this trap is like heroin or other drugs. It's a substance, it's something which is highly addictive, okay? And only make sure that you don't fall into this trap again. It's still a trap, and you, inshallah, came out of it, and there is not something like one session. There's not something like one cigarette. Because this one session, this one cigarette, start exactly the addiction again, okay? It's not your fault or your weakness which made you addicted, but the thing, this filth, this is what makes addictive. So one session, there is not something like one session. From one session there will be 2 sessions, and only make sure that you don't take this poison again, that you don't fall into this trap again. This is very important to have in your mind. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. Please share this video with people you know this could help, and I pray, I hope I could help you with this video, and you will also stop this very easily, this filth now, from now on. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments, and inshallah we will see each other in the next video.